Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. This is our WWE show for the week. My name is George Coles and let's jump right into it. First off, we're going to go through the so-so segments of the night. Basically the stuff that's pretty much forgettable, interchangeable with any other week of wrestling. First off, we have Santino versus Fandango. Anytime you see a match like this on TV, it's a throwaway match just to fill time. The thing that bothers me a bit is Emma being paired with Santino. I've seen a lot of what she's done in NXT, and she's a lot better than that. Not that Santino's bad, but and I do understand she has a comedy gimmick too, but I would like to see her have come in on her own. Her and Xavier Woods, kind of weird how they brought him in and kind of gave him mentors. I understand not everybody could come in and be the Shield or the Wyatt family or Biggie Langston, but she could be a solid addition to the women's roster. I just wish they'd do a little better by her. Now, next up in the so-so was the match with Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio. Almost a mirror match of their match last year when Ziggler was selling the concussion. Del Rio picks up the win in a pretty lopsided match as Dolph Ziggler continues to see his career dive down further and further. The thing of note in this match is after the match, Del Rio attacks Ziggler, puts the arm breaker on, Batista makes a save, and Batista bombs him through the announce table. I just don't think that this is a feud I would go with bringing Batista back. I don't think the fans are interested and drawn into it as much as they should be. For a big star like Dave Batista, he should have came back and immediately went into a feud with somebody a little higher up the card. Now, last but not least in our so-so section, the main event of the night. John Cena versus Randy Orton, number 3,782. I don't know if that's a real number, but it probably is close. I mean, it's not their worst match, it's not their best match. It's just another match with Cena and Orton. Supergiant gets the win. He usually does. I'm just sick and tired of this matchup and this rivalry. It's lost its luster, it's lost its interest. Go away for it for about 5 years at the least, before we revisit it again. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into the bad segments of the week, the stuff I just out didn't like. Starting off with the opening segment. Start off with Betty White and the Big Show. Triple H and Stephanie walk right by him. Randy Orton comes out, kisses ass. Daniel Bryan comes out, does the opposite of kissing ass. He asks for a match for Kane. Gets told you have the night off. I'm sick and tired of this opening. I'm sick and tired of every Monday Night Raw. There is the same opening segment over and over and over again. It's redundant. Stop with it. I don't care anymore. I don't care what you're pushing. I don't care what you're setting up. Stop it. It's just stupid that you open the show the same every time. I'm going to start tuning in 15 minutes late just so I don't have to watch this crap. And they're better than that. I don't know. It just, to me, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of that opening, to be honest with you guys. Another thing I'm sick and tired of is our divas, I call them clusterfuck matches. Basically say, okay, you girls all go out there. We had AJ Lee, Oksana, and Alicia Fox versus the Bella Twins and Cameron. They don't give these matches enough time with the number of people in them to build a chemistry, build a compelling story. They don't have any reason. There's no feud behind them, just other than we got 6 girls in the back, let's put them on TV. They could be doing so much more, but they don't. They just use this Divas division as filler. Cameron picks up the win. I'm guessing she's getting the rub instead of Naomi, who has the eye injury. I don't know. Just, it's a terrible use of talented women, in my opinion. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our question of the week from last week. If you remember last week, Natty Neidhart tweeted out basically she was getting a new shirt. It has since released. But the question was, who do you think that hasn't had a shirt yet deserves their own as well? We got some from our friends here. The first from Handsome Pat Fannin. Biggie is the obvious choice. Second's from our friend Paul over at the Deadly Sins. As far as the t-shirt goes, got to give one to Biggie. Not sure if he has one or not. Next is from our friend Corey McFall. As far as the shirts go, I'm guessing Biggie will have one roll out soon enough. He should, because he deserves it. I'd also like to see some new different style shirts from stars that already have shirts but are terrible. Dolph Ziggler comes to mind. I agree. And last but not least, our friend Lou, also from the Deadly Sins. I would say an Xavier Woods shirt would be pretty cool. But off topic, I prefer a Daniel Bryan versus Bautista or a triple threat for the title than just Randy versus Dave and a feud versus HHH. Could pick up after Mania at the end of SummerSlam. I agree. I think that's the obvious choice at this point. Daniel Bryan making it into the main event is what everybody wants. I mean, what does everybody want? Yes. Thought I was going to say head, didn't you? Although, everybody does want that too. Biggie Langston actually had a shirt come out later on in the week after I posed this question, after most of these guys answered. So, he was an obvious choice, a good choice at that. One I would say I'd like to see a Tyson Kidd shirt. I know he had a Hart Dynasty one that they made, but a Tyson Kidd by himself would be cool. Xavier Woods is a great choice. I'd like to see them flesh out his character individually first before they do that. And along the lines of what Corey McPhail said, Antonio Cesaro, I don't like the design of the only shirt that they've got for him so far. Let's get something better for the guy. I mean, Biggie was the obvious choice, and that's who I was going to pick, but they put him out with a shirt after I said it. I'd like to see Tyson Kidd. Like to see a new shirt for Cesaro, something better than the crap they've given him. You know. I'd also like to see, I think it'd be cool, and I've been to some NXT shows, that they made some NXT merchandise. You know, NXT have its own shirt. Even the guys when they're on NXT, you know, a guy like Bo Dallas or Corey Graves, The Ascension, why not have them a t-shirt? I mean, I'm sure you could run off a cheap 100, 200 shirts and sell them at your shows. Just saying. I think it'd be cool, personally. Now, coming off of that, we're going to go into our question of the week for this week. The match I was just mentioning, the Diva Clusterfuck match, as I like to call them, I just honestly want to know, this is the question of the week, is there anyone out there that likes them? Do you like them? Do you know anybody that likes them? If you know somebody, please put it in our comments. I don't know why these are on these shows. I can't think of any reason or anybody in their sane mind that would like them. Please comment, let me know. If you have a friend, if you yourself like them, I'd love to understand why we keep getting these type matches, and I'd love to see if maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe most people love these. I don't know. But let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. Put it down where? Down there in the comments. Now into the good segments of the night. A very tag team heavy Monday Night Raw this was, and I like tag team wrestling, so that made it enjoyable for me. First, we got the Rhodes Brothers and Rey Mysterio versus the Wyatt family. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think this actually made me want to see a Rey Mysterio Bray Wyatt match. Just on that last move where Bray caught him so quickly and hit Sister Abigail in one motion for the win. I want to see them two go against each other in a full form match. I thought this was great. I thought it was interesting. It was fun. It was a good early match in the show. Wyatt's pick up the win, looking strong going into their feud with the Shield. I thought it was awesome. Good 6-man tag match. When the energy keeps flowing like they did on this, can't complain about that at all. Next up was a traditional tag match. Sheamus and Christian, who Sheamus actually mentioned their previous feuds. I thought that was a cool thing for him to do, cool thing for them to write into the show. They face off against the Real Americans, Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. I enjoyed the hell out of this match. I think this is my favorite match of the night. Much like I said with Mysterio and Bray Wyatt. And might be the first time I've ever said this for Sheamus. I cannot wait to see a Sheamus versus Antonio Cesaro one-on-one matchup. Just the little interactions they had in this match and the brutality and viciousness they brought to each other, that was just amazing stuff. This is as good as Sheamus gets. When Sheamus can go in there and be a brute and be knocking around with somebody that can give it back, someone like a Mark Henry, someone like a Kane, someone like Antonio Cesaro, Sheamus looks his best. The creepy little bastard Christian, always a good worker. I don't know about the face of the WWE with the big black eye. Rumor is that if it was up to certain people, his face would be covered with a blue dot anyway. But he's always entertaining. I thought this was an awesome tag match. Further showing the split of the Real Americans coming soon. Antonio Cesaro is getting a face reaction from the crowd. Sheamus picks up the win with the Brogue Kick on Swagger. Again, Swagger takes a loss. The writing's on the wall. They're going to break these guys up. Cesaro is getting too popular. He's getting too much of a chant, too much cheers. He's either going to go face or break off, and they're trying to quell the cheers. But we've seen how that works with Daniel Bryan. Now, coming off of that, we had our next induction into the Hall of Fame, and that is Lita. One of the all-time great women wrestlers in the WWE. Her and Trish Stratus were highlights of the show. They made the 6-woman diva crap that we have to put up now. They made that look like... It's so ridiculous. The disparity between a great worker like Lita and the crap that we get put on, even with good wrestlers in it, on a weekly basis on Monday Night Raw with their women's division. It's terrible. It does a disservice to the women that came before, like Mola, Lita, Mae Young, Wendy Richter, the Jumping Bomb Angels, Leilani Kai, all of these great women, Ivory, that built such, they've done so much for women's wrestling, and now basically we have it as, all right, you 6 girls go out there. Lita is proof that if you give a woman the right opportunity, if you give the right woman the right opportunity, she could be as popular as any guy on the roster. And well deserving of the Hall of Fame. Probably one of the most deserving women in the history of wrestling. Now next up, we go back to our tag team love. We had the Usos versus Ryback with the New Age Outlaws on commentary. Betty White played the prank on them. Looked like she put Visine into Billy Gunn's drink. Billy Gunn doesn't say much on commentary, runs off at the end. That was cheesy. Match was okay. Squash match. It gets into the good section for one moment and one moment only. I believe it was Jey Uso diving over the ropes on the Ryback and making the tag while diving over. I thought that was an amazing spot, which also, if you've seen a couple seconds before, Ryback looked like he injured his arm or his wrist. Looked like he got caught up in the turnbuckle. They kind of panned away from it quickly, but you could see it got caught up for a second, and he was favoring it the rest of the night. But awesome match, awesome way to showcase the Usos and bring them out as the next contenders for the New Age Outlaws. I felt since the Outlaws got the tag titles that they are going to be the conduit between the Rhodes family and the Uso brothers. I think it's going to be an awesome match when they face the Outlaws, probably at Elimination Chamber. Usos are pretty much lighting up the division right now. Probably the best tag team in the roster right now. Now coming off of that, we had an open challenge. Earlier in the night, the Shield members were taunting Dean Ambrose about not putting up his U.S. title, something that the internet fans make fun of a lot. He gives an open challenge. We get the returning Mark Henry. Mark Henry, slim, trim, buff, and jacked. Looked like he lost a little weight. Looks like he's moving a little better. Henry starts to get the upper hand. The Shield come in. Of course, they lay him out, which brings out the Wyatt. We get the Wyatt family. We get a stand down. Interestingly enough, they're standing on the outside of the rings, both sides. Roman Reigns steps in, just Roman Reigns, and the Wyatt family back off. Then the Shield step in when the Wyatt family backs off. Kind of a little subtle thing that I picked up on, showing us that Roman Reigns is the dominant force in the Shield now, as if you didn't know that already, that's where they were going with that. But pretty decent thing, cool little segment. The match was okay. I don't know that these two styles mesh well together, but it was okay. It wasn't horrible. The segment after with the Wyatts and the Shield square, basically in the standoff, made the segment a good portion of the show, made it great. And last but not least, we had Kane coming out trying to explain why he did what he did. Daniel Bryan attacks. Goes in a good segment. Anytime you have these two together in a ring, whether a team, whether they're enemies, I think it's awesome. I think these two have such a good chemistry and such a good backstory that anything you do to them or with them is going to be great. Now, let's jump right into it. We have our rating system. We got a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. 1's a Great Khali, 2's a Heath Slater, 3's a Randy Orton, 4's a CM Punk. Yes, I know I need to rework the system. 5 is Daniel Bryan. I'm going to give the show a 4, a solid CM Punk. Funnily, he's not there and probably may not be there ever again. But the show was solid all the way through. Some really good stuff. Couple bad things. But a very enjoyable show. A nice show to be cruising on the way to the Elimination Chamber. Nice stuff setting up for the Chamber match itself. But, you know, just a good show, a solid show that's going to get you to want to tune back in next week. Basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.